A lady said I'm taking my life for a walk, which you can do yourself or with someone to talk. Follow the arrows, the shells, or the pile of rock. There must be 50 ways to do the Camino. Wind and rain are part of your journey too. Sun, sweat, and blisters, and it's only hour two. A bit of everything, but it's all brand new. There must be 50 ways to do the Camino. 50 ways to do the Camino. Just turn on the night light, stuff in the pack, Jack, put on the boots, Luke, head out the door. Hop on the bus, Gus, go for that bike if you like. Grab those poles, Nicole, go forward once more. Free Wi-Fi means I can check my email. 15 beds, 5 snorers, oh no, I have failed. They could kill them all, but they'd throw me in jail. There must be 50 ways to do the Camino. 50 ways to do the Camino. Just turn on the bright light, stuff in the pack, Jack, put on your boots, Luke, head out the door. Hop on the bus, Gus, grab that bike if you like, Mike, get those poles, Nicole, go forward once more. No one knows why anyone is out here. Did you find things, lose things, grapple with your fears? When the last town comes, is it all wine and beer? There must be 50 ways to do the Camino. 50 ways to do the Camino.
Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Walk with M. I hope that everybody's well. This is a requested video, so today I'm going to bring to you my post-Camino gear review. So for this particular video, I'm going to divide talking about my gear into about 7 categories. It's going to be my backpack, my shoes, those are the 2 most essentials. Then I'm going to talk about clothes, my water system, how I keep hydrated while I'm doing the walk, my tech gear, toiletries, foot care management, and then others. But first, a coffee. This is a homemade coffee. You know, I talk about coffee a lot on the Camino. Just want to share that this is not the best coffee in the world because I made it, but when I go out, you know, to a cafe, I usually enjoy what we call a flat white in Australia, which is basically a coffee con latte. Okay, the backpacks. I actually looked at 3 different types of backpacks, and then I decided upon the Osprey 30 litre. So this is what the backpack looks like when it's emptied. In this backpack, there is 2 pockets in what they call the brain, so the back pocket, and then a pocket here inside where it's useful to put all your valuables. And then I attach my house keys here because, you know, when you leave, you want to be able to get back into the house when you come back. It's a 30 litre, so it's quite a good size. It's got a mesh bag at the front here to put anything like, you know, a banana, which fell off by the way, but my rain gear went in here, and then there are side pockets here and here. I found the 30 litre to be perfect. Actually, it might be even a little bit too big for me because I went ultra light. So I think if I were to reinvest in a backpack, I might even go down to like a 24 litre, but that's because I'm an ultra pack traveler, because my intention was to carry all my stuff. Okay, so this is the 30 litre. Yep, I would recommend it. Osprey 30 litre. Okay, now in terms of my shoes, I can't show them to you because obviously if you had followed my channel and followed my journey, you would have realized that I actually left my broken shoes back in Santiago when I got in there, I just thought, well, that has to go because it was just falling apart. But I had an Ultra Olympus 5 trail runner, black with purple accent, and it served me fine up until, I would say, the last week or the second last week of the Camino, when it started to fall apart. I will say though that the shoe, because I broke it in for about 20 kilometers before I went on the Camino. So I had 20 kilometers when I got into Santiago. And then I noticed the first 4 days when I was in Estella, the shoe was starting to fray at the top edge of where the foot goes in. And so already I was thinking, okay, these shoes might not last me. But then I guess I had a lot of rain. Still, after 820 kilometers, I should still be able to wear them home. But if you'd follow my journey, and please go back and check on my videos if you are interested, you would have noted that I had to use feminine products to pad the inner of the heel area because the padding was coming off. So would I recommend the Ultra Olympus 5? Probably I wouldn't buy them again. I mean, I do have another pair because I bought 2 pairs for the Camino, and one was to train at home. The other one was to bring to the Camino. And the reason why I like it is because it's got a wide toe box. But I think I might look at another brand the next time because these ones just didn't really hold up. So yes, but the Olympus Ultra shoes, I'll put some clips in for you. In case you're wondering, I did bring back the shoelaces because they actually held up really well. And I wanted something to remind me of, you know, those shoes, in the sense that they took me across a country. So these became something that I took home because I'm sentimental, you know. So the other important thing to note is that you also need a second pair of shoes. And in this case, I opted for the Merrell. These ones I use to put on straight away after I get into an albergue. You will note that they do not allow shoes inside the hotels or the albergues, and so because they don't want you to bring in, you know, stuff that you've been treading along the road, which is fair enough. So immediately you would leave the shoes in a dedicated spot near the door usually, and then you would then put on your house shoes, I suppose, or town shoes. So I wore these around the albergues, and they were actually a really good relief to take out my feet at the end of the day and put these on. They also became the shoes that I wore into the showers. And yes, they did get a little bit wet, which was a bit annoying for a couple of hours, but I think, you know, still they served this purpose. And these shoes carried me home from Santiago airport and so forth. So a really good pair, lightweight, shower / town / after walking shoes. Really love these. They're the Merrells, and I got these at Decathlon. In terms of my water system, or how I keep hydrated during the walk, when I made my first couple of packing videos and I tweaked it, I was just going to use you know, bottled water, because, you know, one way of doing that is that it's more lightweight than I thought a water system could be, like a water bladder. But then I realized that I was going to be using poles, and so at the very last minute I switched to the Denali water bag system. So this is about, I don't know, $30. Now the only thing, and it's a 2 liter, and this I just chucked at the back of my Osprey. It has a different compartment to the rest of the bag to put things like this in, a water system in. This worked really well up until I think I got to Sargoon, which is halfway. And when I was packing really fast in the morning and I was tucking this in, the nozzle flipped off and I lost the nozzle. So I basically used this water system until halfway on the Camino, after, like, you know, 400 kilometers. I was really missing this after a while because I realized I wasn't drinking enough water. So I probably would use this again, but I would actually go and get a nozzle, an extra nozzle, just in case I lose it. But also to note, the one thing I might change about this is that if I was to reinvest in this, is to get a nozzle that has a cover. Because without a cover, the nozzle was being dragged through all kinds of stuff when you know, put your backpack down at the end of the day. It was in the tucking in and the taking out of the nozzle that that I lost it, you see. So anyway, so my water system was the water bag, which you can get for different various price points. But I think at the end of it, at the second half of my journey, I was just as happy using my sort of, you know, a couple of water bottles that I got in the supermarket. I wouldn't say I was happier. I think I just had to make do because I couldn't find a replacement nozzle. But I definitely drank less water. So weigh that up if you could. In the same ilk as the sort of backpack and things that you sort of, you know, carry around, I would highly recommend a bum bag. So this is quite a small one that I got from like an outdoor camping shop in Melbourne. And the reason why I bought it is because, again, I was doing ultra light. So I wanted something pretty slimline. And this wouldn't be my first go-to, but it served the purpose. However, I think it's missing a couple of components. The one issue with this bum bag is that although it's small, it's got quite a slim profile, which means that you couldn't put too much in. But for me, what worked was that at the back of this this bum bag, I was able to put in my passport, and it just fit. I put it into a little Ziploc bag, and I put my passport in here, and then I would then put it into the bum bag here. I would also get another Ziploc bag of the same size, and I would put in, you know, my credit cards and everything in here. And so those two Ziploc bags stays firmly right next to me in the back pocket of this bum bag. And at the inside, what I did was that instead of just, and this is the only compartment, there's only two compartments, the back and the front. And I realized that I actually needed a third compartment because, you know, you don't want to just chuck everything in and then when you open it, it falls out. So I then took an old airline bag. You know how you sometimes when you travel on the airplane, they give you socks and masks and stuff like that. Well, I just took one, which is really lightweight. It's got a pretty good zip in it. And in here is where I put all my money and my coins. So that's all in one place in a separate pouch. And so what I did was I use a rubber band, and there's a little loop in here, and I would just put the loop. Then I would zip it, and then I would lock it to here. Now for the clothes. I actually only bought 2 sets of clothes and a dress. So I am going to show you what I hike in normally. First of all, it's this Kathmandu hiking shorts. I wore this every day and I wash it every day when I can, okay? And these shorts are the best. I mean, I probably wouldn't get, if I were to reinvest in something like this, something a little bit longer, but you know, it was perfect for me because I like to hike in shorts. And then wearing that is a merino wool short sleeve. And this one I just got from, I think, your version of Costco, but it's super dry. I mean, it's quick dry and it's lightweight. Then I have on every other day, alternate with a long sleeve. And I love this top. It's very versatile. Again, it's merino wool. A little bit more expensive than I probably would spend, but it's, you know, something that's going to be quick to wash, quick to dry, and it kept me warm too. So I did a Camino in September, so just note the weather. It averaged in Celsius roughly, you could get something from 4 degrees to 24 degrees, so it's quite a range, but this kept me warm for the long layer and the t-shirt too. On top of that, I also bought a long pair of Nike running pants. So this is what I wear on the plane and sometimes, you know, in the town when I go out because it might be a bit cooler, or if something's in the wash. As you know, most of you would have definitely seen a lot of this dress, and you know, this is a very sort of soft cotton in a color that I like. It's just a summer dress. It's actually something that I thrifted. So the label, you probably can't get it again, but it's something that I thrifted, and it is just a simple loose dress, which is perfect to put on after a shower. You don't want anything too clingy, and it's a really good dress to just put on and sleep. So I sleep in this. I go out to town in this when it's warm enough, and then I might just, you know, bolster it up by putting on my jacket or my my black long sleeve, and that's it. 2 sets of a short sleeve t-shirt, a long sleeve top, both merino wool, hiking shorts, long Nike running pants, and a summer dress. That's my clothes. Now, the truth of the matter is that this wasn't enough in Galicia because it rained relentlessly. But my Camino was a little bit different because we caught the tail end of Hurricane Kirk in the US, which basically blew over to Europe. We caught some of that, but it was extra wet. So what I did was I also bought a poncho in Sagu. So this is a very simple but branded. It says Camino de Santiago, Way of St. James. And that basically helped me put an extra layer for that extra rain that we had. So that was good, although it flapped a lot. I probably wouldn't buy that poncho again. I would definitely buy something a bit more sturdy. But anyway, it's super lightweight, and it got me through. Okay, let's talk now about my sleep system. So as you know, if you watch my 2 other packing videos, I went with the Cedar Summit Reactor Thermal Light Extreme, okay? And I got the regular. Now this sleep sack liner, I used it every day, obviously, and provided me with the protection between the bed sheets and yeah, anything else, you know. So it's not very thick, okay, but it's something that was helpful for me. And on those cooler nights, I also packed a Uniqlo longish kind of I suppose a puffer jacket, which only came out a couple of times. Once was in Zubiri when I had everything in the wash after that terrible Zubiri descent, and I needed to get some new clothes in terms of the clothes were also dirty. And this packed to nothing pretty much. Well, not nothing, but it's super lightweight, and it helps to serve as an extra quilt. I mean, I'm not a you know, not a very tall person, so this was perfect for me as an extra sort of coverage for my sleep system. And I basically put everything into a dry bag because you don't want your sleep system to be to get wet. So that was perfect for me, and I loved it because it was everything I needed. Did I get cold? Yeah, a couple of days I did get a little bit cold, but it wasn't enough to justify carrying a heavy sleeping bag. And with this parka, it served as an extra piece of item of clothing. There you go. So now let's talk about socks and undergarments. I only bought 2 sports bras. Don't have to show you all of that, but basically it's the racer back. One's a little bit thicker and one's a bit lighter because, you know, you want a couple of options. And I also bought 3 pairs of underwear, underpants. 3 because, you know, 1 to wash, 1 to wear, 1 to dry. So, I mean, you know, it didn't take up that much room, so I bought 3. Also, I bought 3 pairs of socks. They are the Injinji socks. Sorry, they're a bit dirty, but I mean, I have washed them, but you know, yes, so Camino stains, I guess, but yeah, they're the toe socks. And so this one is a little bit thinner, a bit lighter, I suppose you can say. Then I bought the one that I wore nearly pretty much every day. They're again merino wool Injini socks, and these really need a good clean. Unfortunately, this one has a hole in it, but you know, it's perfect thickness for what I needed. And then I also bought a pair of non-toe socks, just in case I need something a little bit different. And these were good for the day that I was traveling on the plane, and I need something just a little bit sort of more, I don't know, less weird looking with the toe socks, you know. And I also bought with me a pair of gloves. These I think are glove liners for skiers, but I ended up only using it once, really. I think it was, when was it? Maybe it was Burgos, I don't know, I can't remember now, but it was just for when you're walking and it's windy. And I should have bought them, I should have wore them on my Molaneseca descent, or rather the Cruz de Ferro in retrospect, but I didn't. And anyway, it would have gotten wet and it would have been, I don't think it would have helped kept my hands warm. But there were some days when you're on the mountains when it's so cold that you might use this. I only used it once, so I don't know whether I'd bring it again. Before I arrive in, of course, in the Camino, I was thinking about what I would use as a buff, because I really do like something around my neck for the wind and protection from the cold. But before I arrived to get my buff, I actually just use this. And you would have seen that a lot. I like the blue. When I got into SJPP, St. Jean Pied de Port, I bought myself this buff that had all the stones, which I thought was kind of cool. And then it's got the arrows and the shells, and it's quite a subtle one, and it's black, which means that you don't have to like, but I think I probably would have gone like a brighter color, maybe a green or something next time. But yeah, that's the one that I got. So I was wearing these two interchangeably. That this is the towel that I bought with me. It's a microfiber towel from Denali. It's not the one that everyone uses, which is the, you know, seems to be the Cedar Summit, but it's enough, and it dried so quickly. It was good. It's quite sturdy. The one that I was thinking of bringing wasn't as robust perhaps, but yeah, it just fitted into this little pouch. But you know, after I finish showering, I just hang it off my bunk or the towel line, and yeah, it packs up really small. So that's the towel that I use. Every day when I get into the albergue, the first thing I would do would be to wash my underwear and my socks, and then, you know, maybe a t-shirt that I wore that day, and every other day probably my shorts. I started off with a Ziploc bag of washing powder, but then I kind of left them somewhere. I misplaced them. So then I went and bought this Cedar Summit Wilderness Wash, which basically I used, and that was fine. There are some days where I just use the soap in the showers if I forgot to bring this into the bathroom, and it just you know, do it fine until I find a laundromat, which I did find every sort of 4 to 5 days. I would need to do a whole big wash, and I did that several times on the Camino. Otherwise, is this that was my sort of laundry system. I also bought an S hook, which I only used like once, and so probably won't use it again. And the reason being is that there are some albergues where there's not enough hooks to hold your clothes. So then you would bring, I bought this kind of shopping bag, which I think I'm going to throw out because it's a little bit starting to get a bit, it's not great. And I think if I had my time again, I'll probably get something like something like this, like a tote bag again, but more waterproof. And then that way I could then, you know, use it as a shower bag like that to put in all your toiletries and your clothes. But I found that most albergues showers does have those hooks anyway. So let's talk about other toiletries. So for my hair, I actually bought a comb with me, but then I lost that. I think that was in Estella, perhaps? No, Vienna, maybe. Anyways, I lost my comb. And so I replaced it, and then I lost it again. So I think it was perhaps in Molaneseca. I bought another one. So this came home with me, and this is just perfect for my kind of hair texture. I wasn't going to bring a brush, it's too heavy, so this is the perfect comb. And then I also bought a full-size toothbrush, which I then use a little cap here to keep it as clean as possible. And then I just bought 1 tub of toothpaste, which basically I used, that's it, you know. So yeah, I mean, you don't need much more than this, I don't think. Then for my face cream, I didn't use any face cream, but at the end of it, I used foot cream because again, I was packing light. So I mainly survive with using sunscreen. And yeah, it's a 50 plus, which I used day and night. And sometimes, I think there's a couple of times when I just couldn't bear putting such a thick layer on. So I guess, you know, use what's, I think once I asked a pilgrim if she's got extra face cream because she had a huge pot, and I thought, oh, can I have just a little bit of that, and just, you know, and I think that sufficed for that one day. But most of the time it's this, and then my foot cream, which I actually left back in Santiago, that became my face cream as well. Deodorant, very important. So just a small size, no more left. That's pretty much all I used. In terms of my hair care, I just used, I mean, there was a couple of times when I stayed in an albergue and they just had shampoo. Otherwise, I just used my tea tree soap. This bag is great because it looks after the soap that is in here. So this was O Produso was the last time I used this. This is just that stage before Santiago and the last albergue we stayed in. And it was great. Like, this bag keeps the soap dry. It's really worth the investment. It is a little bit pricey, but that way you're guaranteed that your soap is not, you know, disgusting and slippery and manky, and which it might be if you put it into a Ziploc bag. So anyway, if you can, this is a great thing. So I bought a tea tree block of soap, which does everything, you know, clothes if I need to, definitely body, and then hair. And I just cut it in half with a knife and then just put that in here. So that's been great. In terms of sort of makeup, I really didn't bring anything except for a eyeliner, which is kind of very light. I got this, I think, in Vienna at a chemist. Margaret and I just went into the chemist and I said, oh, I need an eyeliner because, you know, just want to make sure that, I don't know, because, you know, that's something that I like to have a little bit when I go into town. And then I bought from home a little Vaseline that is tinted, which I just use on my lips because, you know, it's kind of a makeup, no makeup look when I go into town. So these two were just the only things that I bought in terms of makeup. And in the same vein, I also, actually, I'm vain. So I didn't really use it. Actually, I only used it on the last night when I was in Santiago. But a little tub like this where I just smidge on 2 shades of lipstick, and it just weighs, it's, you know, it's a little tub that you can get from sort of any kind of container stores, and it just, yeah, I still see I haven't even used it, just maybe a little bit, and I just kind of put that on lightly just for Santiago. That's really it. A couple of occasions I did bring out my sort of hoops, which is very lightweight, and that's just make it a little bit dressier, but I only wore this I think maybe twice, and otherwise it was just my my silver studs that I had on throughout the whole trip. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Oh, in terms of other accessories, I love sunglasses, and so this is one of them where I wanted to be a bit dressier, but most of the time I was wearing my, you know, super protective, this is for the Meseta. That was really helpful. So 2 pairs of sunglasses, and, you know, they don't really weigh that much. And I also bought my reading glasses, which again I only pulled out a couple of times but I think I used it a couple of times when I was editing the videos, but otherwise, you know, my eyesight is still not so too bad, but I just thought in case there's important forms that I need to read, so 3 pairs of glasses, 2 sunglasses, and 1 reading. Talking about editing videos, I bought a pair of earbuds. So, you know, because I edit my video at nighttime when everyone's asleep. So I would just plug this into my phone and basically edit it like that. I also bought a super quick charger. This I got from eBay. It's a 65 watt. Yeah, and it's Europe friendly, obviously. And so this was one of my most cherished possession, I think. And I made sure that I never, I know exactly where this is plugged at. And I always make sure that this is something that I check back, like my polls, every time I leave an albergue. And I would store my tech system, all my gadgets into this little pouch here. It's like, I think this is originally used for a pencil case. It's not waterproof, so I would, this is just to hold everything together, and then I would actually put it into a Ziploc bag just to make it an extra protection. And this sits at the brain of my backpack, the top of my backpack, so you know, a little compact system like that. Now let's talk about earplugs. I did not use this once. I know it's very strange, but I think at the end of a day, I'm so tired that I would, I guess, fall asleep fairly quickly or fall asleep mid-editing. So I never really needed to use this. So yeah, that never used earplugs, but there were snorers for sure, for sure. In fact, there was one really bad snorer that I didn't really sleep that night. Anyways, so now let's talk about, sorry, I had to take a phone call. My friend Hanju from Singapore called and wanted to talk about my Camino again. So of course we spent about an hour just catching up, and it's so nice to hear from her. Alrighty, now what am I up to? Oh yes, so foot care. So you may have known that I used NOC. This is only available in Paris. It's anti-blister prevention, and it kind of is my Vaseline for the trip. So this is available anywhere in France, and I got this in Paris. You can't get it in Spain. So before I got this, I actually did pack a tiny tub of Vaseline, which I just decanted into this little small tub, because I wasn't quite sure if this was going to work for me, but it ended up being, this is the main thing that I used. And then towards the end, because it was running out, I started using this. But yes, so NOC was really, really important for my blister prevention. I did get a couple of blisters, but only towards the end. And I think that's because I had good socks, a decent pair of shoes until the very end. And also the rain actually did the blisters, more, a lot of it too. So then the other thing that I packed with me is this lamb's wool. And I used this once just to plug a hole in my socks. And then I think I used it once to weave in between my toes when I knew that I was going through some pretty tough downhills. So yeah, so that's kind of my foot care regime. In terms of other medication or sort of healthcare kind of related stuff, I packed some of this, it's called Voltaren, which is basically a muscle pain relief thing. My mum and dad gave me this just to take away, and I used a bit of it, especially in that first couple of weeks of the Camino. I also packed some I think they call it KT tape or some sports tape. This was really useful just to put a little bit of a layer between the socks and your skin, especially when the blister started forming. I also pretty much every sort of 3 or 4 days made sure that I clipped my toenails. I packed a smaller nail clipper, but then I realized that I couldn't really quite grip it properly. I mean, it was like a tiny one, and you know, when you talk about toenails, you need something a bit more robust. So I ended up buying something in Carillon de la Condes, a proper full-size nail clipper. That's really key. I also packed with me nail scissors. I think I used this a couple of times just to cut the tape, this tape, but I actually once used it to try and cut down a chestnut. So me and my chestnut obsession. I also packed a sewing kit. I actually lost that sewing kit, but I did retain some needle and thread. I gave away pretty much my kit to an Australian pilgrim, the sister of my pilgrim friend Michael. And then, because I realized by then I was nearly halfway through that I wasn't going to get a blister. Well, I actually did need it towards the end, but I didn't really use it. So I got a needle for Margaret because I gave mine away, and I still had some thread. I gave some of this thread to my pilgrim friend Paula as well. So yeah, so that's kind of my foot care regime. And then I think in terms of medication, I had a little pack here that had sort of the essentials, if you like. So that included a couple of Band-Aids, which I used 1 or 2 off. I also packed in some Imodium and some sort of little medication, for example, Panadol, and I think some cough drops as well. Yeah, so it was just a tiny little thing which fitted into this little pack. So that's a pen. That's a pen. So again, just a little small pouch. It had a clip on it, which I took away just to like minimize the weight, but that was very helpful. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So, you know, you're hiking 25 Ks average kind of days, and sometimes there are sections of the Camino, like the one that headed into on the Meseta. I think once it was 17 Ks, no service, so no cafes, no toilets, nothing. So sometimes you have to end up going, if you're drinking water, going and doing, you know, a wee. So with that, I made sure that I had a couple of things with me just to, you know, kind of just in case it's emergencies like that. So some tissue, and then some wet wipes. But I also packed with me a couple of like doggy bags. These are the bags that, you know, if you own a dog, I don't, but my friends gave to me, that you can drop the tissue that you use as a woman to wipe into these bags, and then you can just throw it out at the end of the walk when you get into an albergue, or, you know, these wet wipes if you're doing number 2. Now, I didn't need to use number 2, which is great, but when I went for a pee, I had once done that, put the tissue in here. There was quite a few tissues along the way in certain areas, and I think that could be avoided if you just bring a plastic bag and empty it at the end of the day. You just put this in the, you know, accessible area in your backpack, and therefore you're not leaving rubbish behind. So that's the kind of toilet in the wild, a wild wee, as we call it, management system. So in terms of the other stuff that doesn't quite fit in any sort of categories, there is a spoon. This is a Cedar Summit spork. So it's a spoon as well as a fork. And I only used this once to eat yogurt. That was when I packed some yogurt to take away, because I realized there might not be services along that particular section. I've only used it once, and I probably won't pack it again because it's just unnecessary. It's very light, but didn't really need it. I also brought with me in another Ziploc bag. By the way, Ziploc bags are the best. Okay, so I lived on them pretty much in just containing my stuff. And a little bottle, which you can just get from any sort of $2 shops. And I put in here, and the Spaniards who are against eucalyptus trees won't appreciate this, but in Australia, we have a lot of eucalyptus trees and we use them for medicinal properties. And in this case, I actually decanted a big, a heavy glass jar of eucalyptus oil into this so that I could spray it on my sleep sack, my liner, because it's a great, eucalyptus oil is a great deterrent of bed bugs, and I didn't have any issue with bed bugs. So I sprayed it. Unfortunately, this leaked, which then prompted me to put this into the plastic bag. It leaked and it soaked through my backpack, and somehow my water bladder picked it up. But in a way, that's kind of nice because I was drinking water that was dispersed with eucalyptus oil. Yes, so that's the eucalyptus oil. So it was a good little kind of natural remedy to keep away bed bugs. So I spoke about Ziploc bags, and I basically throw everything in here, you know. So the small Ziploc bags into a big Ziploc bag. And that became a bit like a dry bag, if you like. I actually have 3 dry bags, 1, 2, and the other one held my sleep system, and they enable me to not have to worry too much when it was raining and I couldn't get my and I was wearing just my rain jacket. I actually didn't bring a cover for my backpack, and I don't know whether that's a mistake. It's something that I intentionally left behind, but I think in the end, because it was raining so much, that I was glad to have the poncho. The poncho also served as a backpack cover, if you like. Hat gear is really important, headgear, I guess, in that sense. I bought a baseball cap from home, and that helped to keep my head warm as well as to keep the sun off. I was told by several of my friends back home, you're crazy to go through the Meseta without a wide brim hat. So if you follow my journey, and there's like 40, 41, at least 41 episodes of my journey, because I took 41 days to get to Santiago, you would have noted that I actually did buy an extra hat. It was a linen hat with a brim, and I loved it because it was lined, it was light, and it was a nice oatmeal color, and also the brim wasn't so wide to knock the back of my backpack, and it was a great hat, and it really served me well in the meseta. Unfortunately, I lost it on either the, I think I lost it going down Molenseca, the Molenseca descent, which if you go back and look at my video, you will know that I actually was very upset when I lost my hat. But it was a very stormy, horrible, rainy, side rain, gale wind kind of day. I really suffered on that descent, and somehow I dropped my hat. So yes, I lost that lovely hat. It was actually purchased in Burgos. I know exactly what shop it was. So if anybody wants to get me a replacement hat, you would be very grateful, and I would pay for it. I think I paid something like, is it 24 euros for it? I might see whether that hat shop has it online, because I really loved it. Anyway, so that's my Burgos hat loss story. But yes, a good hat. And I think thinking back, I mean, this was a real, it's good to have a bit of a long brim, because I realized when I put this on and with my rain jacket, it helped keep the rain off my face in certain areas. And certainly when I had my poncho on and I didn't have this hat on, I could certainly feel the rain a lot more. So I would actually take that hat again, or at least a baseball cap. I was missing also my beanie. I like to have a beanie when it's cold weather, and certainly I could definitely have done with that. But again, it was a weight thing, and I had to make a decision on that. So yes, so that basically I think wraps up my entire kit. That's it from me for today, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Please like and subscribe my video. They do take a while to put together and edit and so forth. It would really help this channel grow, and I like to be able to grow it. It makes me smile. And thank you so much for commenting as well. I read every single comment, and I try and reply as much as I can to every comment. Yeah, follow me on Instagram. No #WalkWithM. My channel is Walk with M, and my Instagram at the moment is Stylishly. Also, I have a Buy Me a Coffee account, which if you appreciate the content that I'm putting out here, or if you want to support my channel, yeah, I'd love that coffee, and I cash it out for coffees and sometimes a vermouth, because that's kind of like my go-to drink at the moment, just to keep the Camino spirit alive. And sometimes I cash it out for things that, you know, like gear, and I appreciate you very much for being here. All right, guys, that's it. Bye until the next time. And remember, the journey continues, and wishing you a buen camino, even though that Camino might be at home. All right, see you next time. Bye for now. Okay, and so in a way it's tied to the zipper of my bum bag, and that way it's like a third compartment, and then I can just put my phone in here as well, you know what I'm saying? So then, so that the money will not fall off. This zip part where it holds my passport will not fall off, and my credit cards, and then it means that I can toss, you know, a pack of tissue or electrolytes or my phone in here, so it creating myself a third compartment. I mean, this is only if you get this bum bag. I won't go on more about it because I think that's a personal choice.